all of you. Thank you all very much for joining in for our Krishna book study. Let's start with prayers. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri-Yudapadakammalam Shri-Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri-Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Dushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkrpatamaham mande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyameshwaram Harihi Om Tatsat Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Taraliye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Anat Pranam. So we are continuing with the book Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're continuing from the second chapter. So until now, we saw how Brahmaji is actually describing the glory of Lord Shri Krishna in the Brahma Samhita. Ishwaraha Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. So Ishwaraha Parama Krishna. So everyone is a controller to a certain limit, right? We all are controllers. We decide so many things. But Ishwaraha Parama, the demigods are better controllers than us, right? Our ambit of control is very limited. The demigods have better ambit of control, right? They are in charge of the rains, they are in charge of the food grain production, etc., right? But whereas the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, is Ishwaraha Parama. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Supreme Controller. He does not have any other controller. He is not controlled by anyone. That is why he is the Supreme Controller. Ishwaraha Parama Krishna. And he is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. He is eternal, he is blissful, and he is full of knowledge. Right? Anadir Adir Govindaha. Anadir, he does not have a source because he is the source of everything. Adir Govindaha. He is called Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. And Prabhupada mentions how we can understand the Lord not by speculative ignorance, not by mental speculation, not by studying of the Shastras, not by our material intelligence, right? Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahim indriyehi sevon mukhehi jivadav swayameva suratyadaha. How can we understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead? We can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead only when we hear from a bona fide authority. And how to hear that? Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. We understand from bona fide spiritual master, provided we are inquiring with a submissive attitude, humble attitude, not a challenging spirit, right? And we are rendering service to such a spiritual master. right? Jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. The spiritual master who's already realized the knowledge will light the lamp of transcendental knowledge in our heart. That's how the transcendental knowledge is transmitted. And we cannot understand this transcendental knowledge or the glories of the Lord simply by mental speculation or by our own study of these books, right? Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So many people have read, but they have come into so many misinterpretations, thinking that impersonal Brahman is only the supreme. They think Mayavadis. That means when Krishna comes as an incarnation, he is also subject to Maya. So these kinds of misunderstandings have also been developed by so many people because they don't have a bona fide spiritual master who can guide them, tell them what is the correct understanding, what is not the correct understanding. All right, let's move forward. Anyone wants to read? You can raise your hands. Let me share my screen. All right, Shri Priya Mataji, go ahead. At this time, oh no, we have to read from, 1 second. Yeah, the highest blunder. Yeah, correct. Go ahead.
The highest blunder committed by, just 1 second, Mataji. Sorry. Yeah, the highest blunder committed by the impersonalist is to think that when the incarnation of God comes, he accepts the form of matter in the mode of goodness. Actually, the form of Krishna or Narayana is transcendental to any material idea. Even the greatest personalist, Shankaracharya, has admitted Narayana
Greatest
Paro,
impersonalist.
greatest
The greatest
impersonalist.
impersonalist.
Even the greatest impersonalist, Shankaracharya, has admitted Narayana Paro Avyaktat. The material creation is caused by the Avyakta, impersonal manifestation of matter, or the non-phenomenal total reservoir of matter. But Krishna is transcendental to that material conception. That is expressed in Srimad Bhagavatam as Shuddha Sattva, or transcendental goodness. He does not belong to the material mode of goodness, and he is above the position of material goodness. He belongs to the transcendental and eternal status of bliss and knowledge. Dear Lord, when you appear in your different incarnations, you take different names and forms according to different situations. Lord Krishna is your name because you are all attractive. You are called Shama Sundara because of your transcendental beauty. Shama means black. Yet it is said that you are more beautiful than thousands of cupids. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya. Although you appear in a color which is compared to the blackish cloud, because you are the transcendental absolute. Your beauty is many, many times more attractive than the delicate body of Cupid. Sometimes you are called Giridhari because you lifted the hill known as Govardhana. You are sometimes called Nanda Nandana or Vasudeva or Devaki Nandana because you appear as the son of Maharaja Nanda or Vasudeva or Devaki. The impersonalists think that your many names or forms are given according to a particular type of work and quality because they accept you from the position of a material observer. Our dear Lord, the way of understanding is not to study your absolute nature, form, and activities by mental speculation. One must engage himself in devotional service, then one can understand your absolute nature and your transcendental form, name, and qualities. Actually, only a person who has a little taste for service of your lotus feet can understand your transcendental nature of form and qualities. Others may go on speculating for millions of years, but it is not possible for them to understand even a single part of your actual position. In other words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna cannot be understood by the non devotees because there is a curtain of Yogamaya which covers the Krishna's actual features. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. The Lord says, I am not exposed to anyone and everyone. When Krishna came, he was actually present on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and everyone saw him. But not everyone could understand that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still, everyone who died in his presence attained complete liberation from the material bondage and was transferred to the spiritual world. Oh Lord.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you. Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavratah. So Krishna says that I am covered by my Yogamaya, right? Or somebody, Prabhupada says in a lecture, if somebody wants to serve God, the Lord will reveal himself to him so that this person can serve him very nicely. But if someone wants to become God, then the Lord will not reveal himself to such a person who wants to become his competitor. Why would the Lord reveal himself like that? Right? So, and Sevon Mukehi Jivada Swayameva Suratyadaha. Atha Sri Krishna Namadi, like we discussed that, right? We cannot understand the Lord's name, form, pastimes, paraphernalia by our own material endeavor of either studying the Shastras or by performing any tapasya or by performing any austerity, etc. Right? But Sevon Mukehi Jivada, when we render devotional service starting with the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, then the Lord automatically reveals himself to such a person in such a way that this person is actually gets transferred to the spiritual world when he understands that he is the Mami Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. He understands that I am part and parcel of the Lord, and it is my duty to be eternally engaged in the service of the Lord. And such service of the Lord, what I am doing, I should be performing with Ahituki Apratihata. That means unmotivated, uninterrupted service under the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In that state, one automatically attains a state of liberation. So, what is liberation? Mukti hitvan yatharupam swarupena vyavasthitihi. That means when one is situated in one's constitutional position of always serving the Lord for his pleasure, that is actually liberation. Liberation does not mean merging into Brahman, or liberation does not mean becoming crossing the three modes of material nature, right? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. There one is gets liberated from hankering and lamenting, but that is not the actual objective of mukti, right? Mukti is translated into English as liberation, but that refers to the liberation which is attained by serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not by merging with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is not liberation. Why? Because there is a chance of fall down even from that position when actually when aspires to simply get free from the pangs of this material world, right? This world is dukhalayam. That means we'll always have dukkha. If somebody simply wants to get relieved from dukkha, then he only comes to the zero axis, right? But if one wants to experience positive bliss, then he has to start the process of devotional service. Impersonal realization and Paramatma realization cannot give ananda. It can simply bring one to the point of na shochati, na kankshati. At most, peace is what one can obtain, right? Zero access. But we want positive happiness. We want positive bliss. We want happiness, right? For that, we only have to engage in the process of devotional service under the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All right, let's move forward. Oh Lord, okay, Anusha Mataji, go ahead. Oh Lord, the impersonalists. Mataji, are you able to unmute yourself? Okay, Rajneesh Prabhu, can you unmute yourself?
Anji.
Yes,
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna,
go ahead.
Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
O Lord, the imperialist, O Lord, the impersonality, impersonalist or non-devotees cannot understand that your name is identical with your form. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference between him and his form. In the material world, there is a difference between form and name. The mango fruit is different from the of the mango. One cannot taste the mango fruit simply by chanting mango, go, go. But the devotee who knows that there is no difference between the name and form of the Lord chants Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and realizes that he is always in Krishna company. And he realizes that he is always in Krishna company.
So persons who are not very advanced. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, you're not audible.
No, I'm going. For persons who are not very advanced in absolute knowledge of the Supreme, Lord Krishna exhibits his transcendental pastimes. Such persons can simply think of pastimes of the Lord and get full benefit. Since there is no difference between the transcendental name and form of the Lord, there is no difference between the transcendental pastimes and form of the Lord. For those who are less intelligent, like women, laborers, or mercantile class. The great sage Vasudeva Vyasadeva wrote the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, Krishna is present in his different activities. The Mahabharata is history, and simply by studying, hearing, and memorizing the transcendental activities of Krishna, the less intelligent can also gradually rise to the standard of pure devotees. The pure devotees who are always absorbed in the thought of the transcendental lotus feet of Krishna and who are always engaged in Krishna in full Krishna consciousness are never to be considered in the material world. Srila Rupa Goswami has explained that those who are always engaged in Krishna consciousness, body and mind activities, all to be considered liberated even within this body. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, those who are engaged in devotional service of the Lord have already transcended the material condition. Krishna appears in order to give a chance to both the devotees and non-devotees for realization of ultimate goal of life. The devotees get the direct chance to see him and worship him. Those who are not on that platform get the chance to become acquainted with his activities and thus become elevated to our
Hare
dear
Krishna. Thank you.
Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranam. Thank you so much. So, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nityamukto Abhinnatva Nama Namino. That means Nama Chintamani, right? It is like it is like a precious jewel, Chintamani. Chintamani stone can fulfill one's every desire of everyone in the spiritual world, right? That is the potential of Chintamani. And the holy name is like that. It can fulfill the ultimate desire of anybody and everybody, which is attaining Krishna Prema. So, Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. It can enable one to taste all the rasas, right? The transcendental mellows or the transcendental reciprocation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is possible simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Purna Shuddho, the holy name is all pure. Nitya Mukto, the holy name is eternal. Abhinatva Nama Namino. And the holy name is not different from Krishna himself. That is why Prabhupada says, when we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is a time of personal association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. With that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Radha Shama Sundar, it is our personal meeting, right? If we have a personal meeting with the President the next day morning at 5 o'clock, what would we do today? We would think of so many things. Okay, these are the things that I want to discuss. These are the things I want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Just because we are getting the opportunity every day, we should not take it for granted. Because it is not just the President of India or the President of America. He is the Supreme Ishwara Parama Krishna. He is the Lord of all the Lords. He is the Lord of the Devatas, the demigods who are in charge of the entire material universe. They supply rain, right? They supply heat. The sun god is the sun is actually providing light to the entire universe. And it says, Naham Prakan, what is that? Natad Bhashyate Shuryana Shashanko Na Pavaka. Krishna says in the spiritual world, there is no need for a sun or a moon or electricity because the effulgence from Lord's body only gives light. Right? So in this way, the Lord is a controller of all the controllers. Right? When we are giving so much importance to one particular country's controller, how much more importance we should give? Because the holy names of the Lord that we are chanting every day during Brahma Muhurta time, that is our time for personal association with the Supreme Personality of Krishna. It is like Krishna is personally being present there and is accepting our service in the form of when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it is non-different. Our chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is non-different from our, like Krishna is sitting on the chair next to us. How will we chant? How will we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? How will we beg for service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna? So in that way, it is non-different. When we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Krishna is personally present and sitting in front of us. If that is the mode in which we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then we will never go wrong in our helplessness, in our surrender to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? And we also saw now how always remembering Krishna, never forgetting Krishna. These are the two important principles in which all of our devotional endeavors depend on. Right? Why are we performing rules and regulations? Why are we chanting Hare Krishna? Why are we performing Arati? Why are we hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? Why are we singing the bhajans of the Lord? Why are we following ABCD square? Because we want to remember the Lord. Smartavya satatam Vishnur vismartavyo na jatuchet. Sarve vidhi nishedyasu retayor eva kinkaraha. These two principles of always remembering Krishna, never forgetting Krishna are the essential principles. Right? And for that, it is mentioned in this age of Kali. Right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti shodashakam nam Kali kalmashanashanam. Nato parakaropaya sarva vedeshu drishyate. In this age of Kali, it is not possible to remember Krishna. It is not possible to attain Krishna Prema without the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Every other process is subordinate to this process in the age of Kali. That no other process, right? Prabhupada says in this famous lecture, no other process in this age of Kali is as effective in attaining self-realization or attaining God realization or attaining love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, except by the process of devotional service, which is headed by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, like that. Okay, let's move forward. Our dear Lord. Okay, I'm not sure. Anusha Mataji, are you able to unmute yourself now?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Our dear Lord, O Supreme Controller, when you appear on earth, all the demons like Kamsa and Jarasandha will be vanquished and all good fortune will be ushered into the world. When you walk on the globe, your lotus feet will impress on the ground the marks of your soul, such as the flag, the trident, and the thunderbolt. Thus you will grace both the earth and us on the heavenly planets who shall see those marks. O dear Lord, the demigods continued, you are unborn. Therefore, we do not find any reason for your appearance other than for your pleasurable pastimes. Although the reason for the appearance of the Lord is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, he descends just to give the protection to the devotees and vanquish the non-devotees. Actually, he descends for his pleasure meeting with the devotees, not really to vanquish the non-devotees. The non-devotees can be vanquished simply by one kick of material nature. The actions and reactions of material nature, creation, maintenance, and annihilation are being carried out automatically. But simply by taking shelter of your holy name, the devotees are fully protected because your holy name and your personality are non-different. The protection of the devotees and the annihilation of the non-devotees are actually not the business of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he descends, it is just for his transcendental pleasure. There cannot be any other reason for his appearance. Our dear Lord, you are appearing as the best of the Yadu dynasty, and we are offering our respectful humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. Before this appearance, you also appeared as the fish incarnation, as the horse incarnation, as the tortoise incarnation, as the half-man, half-lion incarnation, as the boar incarnation, as the swan incarnation, as King Ramachandra, as Parashurama, and as many other incarnations. You appeared just to protect the devotees, and we request you in your present appearance as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself to give us similar protection all over the three worlds and remove all obstacles for the peaceful execution of our lives. Can I go
Hare
ahead,
Krishna.
Mataji?
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So we know the reasons, right? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chajuskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamiham. So we know the purpose of Lord's incarnation, which Lord himself says in 4.7 and 4.8, isn't it, of the Bhagavad Gita? But it is specifically mentioned here, right? Prabhupada mentions here, the Lord can kill the demons just by the kick of the material nature, right? One little COVID virus could kill so many human beings, right? So we realize the value of oxygen. Otherwise, we thought that oxygen, air to sabhi jagah hai. But we realize the value of oxygen, we realize the value of air during COVID time, isn't it? One kick of material nature, then we understand what we are supposed to understand. And Krishna does not have to personally descend for that, right? Krishna's Maya Shakti is enough to teach us all those lessons and punish us. But why does actually Krishna come? Krishna comes simply to give pleasure to his devotees, right? That is why it is explained, Prabhupada says, right? Krishna is not your father's servant. That you say, if God is there, let him come before me, right? Krishna says, God is not your father's servant, that you call him and then he immediately comes in front of you, right? But why did he come like that for Prahlad Maharaj? Because Prahlad Maharaj told Hiranyakashipu, right? Is he there in this pillar? Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, he is there in the pillar. And then when he hit the pillar with a mace, right, Narsingadev appeared. That means Krishna seems to be, or Lord Vishnu seems to be the servant of Prahlad Maharaj. But that's what Krishna says. I am Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. I carry what the devotees lack. I preserve what the devotees have. So Krishna becomes the charioteer of Arjuna. So Krishna likes to become the servant of his own devotees. Those who have dedicated their lives for the pleasure of the Lord is willing to become the servant of these devotees. But the Lord is not obligated to become the servant of all of these demonic characters, right? So Narsingadev appeared not for Hiranyakashipu to believe that there is God, but he appeared to fulfill the words of Prahlad Maharaj. And why did he appear in the form of Narsingadev, right? With half man, half lion body, with nails to tear apart the chest of Hiranyakashipu, because Brahma gave that benediction, and Brahma is also a devotee of the Lord. So Krishna always fulfills the word of his devotees, and he likes to become the servant of his devotees, right? The other day we were discussing which boss in this world will like to become the driver of his own employee, right? Even if the employee is unwell, the boss will never, okay, come, you sit here, I will drive you home. Will the employer ever say in this material world, right? It is only the Krishna who is the supreme personality of God, the supreme proprietor, the supreme enjoyer. So Bhoktaram Yagnatapasam, Sarvalokam Maheshwaram, right? Only such a person who is the supreme personality of Godhead likes to become and volunteers to become the servant of his own devotees, right? It is said during the war, Arjuna will kick on the left hand, on the left shoulder, if the chariot had to be taken to the left, because during the turmoil of the battlefield, nothing is audible. Like Arjuna cannot tell Krishna, okay, Krishna, move, go left, go right. Right? There is so much of noise and blowing of conches and, so much of noise is there that the charioteer understands which direction I have to go only when the person behind is kicking him. And Arjuna is kicking him to the left, if to go to the left, and kicking on the right shoulder if Krishna has to go to the right. And Krishna is happily accepting all of that. That is why Arjuna addresses him as Achyuta. Achyuta means infallible. He never fails in his affection for his devotees. He never fails. He tells Kaunteya pratijanihi nami bhakta pranashati. I may forsake my own promise. Right? He promised that I will not take up an astra in the battle, but immediately to protect Arjuna, what did he do? He picked up the wheel of the chariot and he rushed towards Bhishma Pitamaha. Isn't it? So that is why he's saying, Kaunteya, you declare that my devotee will never perish. Right? So Krishna gives utmost importance to his own devotee. Right? Even more than his own words, even more than himself, he gives priority to his own devotees. So there is a very beautiful story. I don't know, I may have already shared it in one of the other classes. Right? It is said that somebody who settled abroad, right? Somebody who's in the US for 10 years, right? And, his cousin is getting married in, say, Mumbai, right? So he comes to Mumbai to attend and spend time with his cousin, right? The wedding celebrations, all the relatives are there. So he comes to attend the function and the ceremony, to meet all the people, right? To have loving reciprocation with his relatives. At the same time, he also thinks, oh, I have a house in Mumbai, right? Let me also get it cleaned, right? So he's arriving in Mumbai not to clean his house, right? That happens by the way, right? I'm already here. Since I'm going to be here for a week, I'm already so he arranges for a person to clean the house. Similarly, the Lord appears to give protection to the devotees. The Lord appears to have this loving reciprocation with his devotees. And then what happens? Krishna appears to have loving reciprocation. Krishna is going to appear, right? Next month, 26, 27. 26th is appearance of Krishna. 27th is appearance of Prabhupada. Right? Krishna appears to have a wonderful time with Yashoda Maiya, Nanda Maharaj, Sri Dhama, Madhu Mangal, and all the gopis of Vrindavan, right? To have lovely time with them. And then what happens? By the way, all these demons get killed. Trinavrata gets killed, Putana gets liberated, all that happens by the way. right? So in this way, the Lord appears not to kill the demons, right? Prabhupada makes a very beautiful point here. I love this line. Just by kick of Maya, the demons can be annihilated. But Lord Krishna personally appears to have this loving reciprocation with his own devotees. So that is the primary purpose of the appearance of the Lord. And killing of the demons happens by the way, right? By chance. Along with the main purpose, many other small purposes also get satisfied. So that is the main purpose of the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All right. Dear Mother Devaki, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, go ahead.
Dear Mother Devaki, within your womb is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing along with all his planetary extensions. He is the original personality of Godhead, appearing for our welfare. Therefore, you should not be afraid of your brother, the king of Bhoja. Your son, Lord Krishna, who is the original personality of Godhead, will appear the protection of the pious Yadu dynasty. The Lord is appearing not alone, but accompanied by his immediate planetary portion, Baladeva. Devaki was very much afraid of her brother Kamsa because he had already killed so many of his children. So she was very anxious about Krishna. In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that in order to pacify Devaki, all the demigods, along with their wives, used to visit her to encourage her not to be afraid that her son would be killed by Kamsa. Krishna, who was within her womb, was to appear not only to diminish the burden of the world, but specifically to protect the interests of the Yadu dynasty, and certainly to protect Devaki and Vasudeva. It is understood that Krishna had been transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, and from there to her womb. Thus, all the demigods worshipped Devaki, the mother of Krishna. After thus worshipping the transcendental form of the Lord, all the demigods, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, placed in front, departed for their heavenly abodes. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second chapter of Krishna, prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. You can continue reading. We'll start with the third chapter. So this particular chapter deals with the prayers by the demigods. So the demigods are actually glorifying the Lord, right? As they are glorifying the Lord, Prabhupada is actually giving us a summary of this glorification. All these are verses in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. So a summary study of that along with the dose of philosophy is given by Prabhupada, so that we understand the greatness of the Lord and what are the pasam janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So Krishna says, one who understands the nature of my appearance and activities will not take birth again in this world, but attain my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So Prabhupada is giving us the opportunity, right, where we will study all the 9 cantos and then come to the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Maybe this lifetime itself will go and we may not be able to reach the 10th canto. So that is why Prabhupada has become so merciful that he has given us this Krishna book, which will give us a proper understanding of the activities and the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that we understand the greatness of the Lord and we don't try to imitate the activities of the Lord, but rather we try to follow the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So let's move on to chapter number 3. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, for some reason the link is not working. Okay, let me check again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yeah. Okay, so the third chapter is the chapter which deals with the birth of Lord Shri Krishna, right? So we're talking about Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yoveti Tatvatah Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti So, Arjuna, we understand that the appearance of the Lord and the activities of the Lord are transcendental. And simply by understanding that they are transcendental, what will happen to us? We can go back to Godhead. All right. So this is chapter number 3, the birth of Lord Krishna. Okay, Sindhu Mataji, would you like to go ahead?
Sure, Mataji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chapter 3, the birth of Lord Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that his appearance, birth, and activities are all transcendental, and that one who understands them factually becomes immediately eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord's appearance or birth is not like that of an ordinary man who is forced to accept a material body according to his past deeds. The Lord's appearance is explained in the 2nd chapter. He appears out of his own sweet pleasure. When the time was mature for the appearance of the Lord, the constellations became very auspicious. The astrological influence of the star known as Rohini was predominant. The star is considered to be very auspicious and is under the direct supervision of Brahma. According to the astrological conclusion, besides the proper situation of the stars, there are auspicious and inauspicious moments due to the different situations of the different planetary systems. At the time of Krishna's birth, the planetary systems were automatically adjusted so that everything became auspicious. At that time, in all directions, east, west, south, north, everywhere, there was an atmosphere of peace and prosperity. There were auspicious stars visible in the sky and on the surface of the earth, in all towns and villages and pasturing grounds, and within the minds of everyone, there were signs of good fortune. The rivers were flowing full of waters, and lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers. The forests were full of beautiful birds and peacocks. All the birds within the forest began to sing with sweet voices. The peacocks began to dance along with their concerts. The wind blew very pleasantly, carrying the aroma of different flowers. The sensation of bodily touch was very pleasing. At home, the Brahmanas, who were accustomed to offering sacrifices in the fire, found their homes very pleasant for offerings. Due to disturbances created by the demoniac kings, the sacrificial fire had been almost stopped in the houses of the Brahmanas, but now they could find the opportunity to start the fire peacefully. Being forbidden to offer sacrifices, the Brahmanas had been very much distressed in mind, intelligence, and activities, but just on the point of Krishna's appearance, automatically their minds became full of joy because they could hear transcendental appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The denizens of the Gandharva and the Kinnara planets began to sing, and the denizens of Siddhaloka, the planets of the Charanas began to offer prayers in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the heavenly planets, the angels and their wives, along with the Vidyadharas and their wives, began to dance. The great sages and the demigods, being pleased, began to shower flowers. At the seashore, there was the sound of mild waves, and above the sea, there were clouds in the sky which began to thunder very pleasingly.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, even if the time apparently of the appearance of the Lord is inauspicious, then everything arranges itself, right? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself is appearing, right? Even in the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? It was considered to be an inauspicious time. But at that time, what happened? Everybody was, because it was an inauspicious time, everybody had gone to the Ganges and everybody was chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And in this way, even the most inauspicious time became so much auspicious by the chanting of the names of the Lord. And in this way, the Lord appeared. Right? That's what we celebrate as Gaur Purnima, right? The day in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the moonrise time, right? That's why we fast till moonrise, right? So similarly, when Krishna appeared also, right? Everything arranged themselves, all the planets arranged themselves in a way that it became very auspicious. The Siddha, the Gandharvas, right? Those who sing very beautifully. Everybody did what they could do best for the pleasure of the Lord. Right? Those who could sing well sang songs. Those who could dance danced. Right? Everyone else offered flowers. All the demigods offered flowers. Right? The Vidyadharas, the angels, and everyone. They all became very happy because if the appearance of the Lord means it is dissipating the darkness of ignorance. Right? Tesham evanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamah. What is that? Nashayami atmabhavastu jnana deepena bhashvatah. Because when the Lord appears, all Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Andakar. Jahan Krishna, taha nahi hai Maya Adhikar. Right? When Krishna appears, then Maya cannot stay there. Right? There cannot be the darkness of Maya when Krishna is personally present. So when Krishna appeared, right? Then what happens? All the ignorance, the andhakar, the darkness, the tamoguna, everything else vanished, right? Everything else evaporated, and Krishna thus appeared to bring this transcendental knowledge in the form of light, right? Knowledge is always referred to light because you see things as they are. Jnana shastra chakshushaha. Through the shastras, we're able to see things as they are. What is actually worth spending time and effort on? What should be our goal? Everything we understand through the light of the scriptures, isn't it? So when the Lord appeared, all the tamas, all the ignorance, all the darkness were removed. And in this way, Lord Vishnu or Lord Sri Krishna appeared in the womb of Mother Devaki. All right, let's move ahead. Yeah, when things were adjusted like this. Okay, Sudha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. When things were adjusted like this, Lord Vishnu, who is residing within the heart of every living entity, appeared in the darkness of night as the Supreme Personality of Godhead before Devaki, who appeared as one of the demigoddesses. The appearance of Lord Vishnu at that time could be compared to the rising of the full moon over the eastern horizon. The objection may be raised that since Lord Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon, there could be no rising of the full moon. In answer to this, it may be said that Lord Krishna appeared in the dynasty which is in the hierarchy of the moon. Therefore, although the moon was incomplete on that night, because of the Lord's appearance in the dynasty wherein the moon is himself the original person, the moon was in an overjoyous condition. So by the grace of Krishna, he could appear just like a full moon. In an astronomical treatise by the name Kamanikya, the constellations at the time of the appearance of Lord Krishna are very nicely described. It is confirmed that the child born at that auspicious moment was the supreme Brahman or the absolute truth. Vasudeva saw that the wonderful child born as a baby with 4 hands holding conch shell, club, disc and lotus flower, decorated with the mark of Srivatsa, wearing the jeweled necklace of Kaustuba stone, dressed in yellow silk, appearing dazzling like a bright blackish cloud, wearing a helmet bedecked with the Vaidurya stone, valuable bracelets, earrings, and similar other ornaments all over his body, and beautified by an abundance of hair on his head. Due to the extraordinary features of the child, Vasudeva was struck with wonder. How could a newly born child be so decorated? Vasudeva could therefore understand that Lord Krishna had now appeared and he became overpowered by the occasion. Vasudeva very humbly wondered that although he was an ordinary living entity conditioned by material nature and was externally imprisoned by Kamsa, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, Vishnu or Krishna, had appeared as a child in his home, exactly in his original position. No earthly child is born with 4 hands, decorated with ornaments and nice clothing, fully equipped with all the signs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Over and over again, Vasudeva glanced at his child and he considered how to celebrate this auspicious moment. Generally, when a male child is born, he thought people observe the occasion with jubilant celebrations, and in my home, although I am imprisoned, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has taken birth. How many millions and millions of times should I be prepared to observe this auspicious ceremony? When Vasudeva, who is also called Anakadundubi, was looking at his newborn baby, he was so happy that he wanted to give many thousands of cows in charity to the Brahmanas. According to the Vedic system, whenever there is an auspicious ceremony in the Kshatriya's king's palace, out of joy, the king gives many things in charity. Cows decorated with golden ornaments are delivered to the Brahmanas and sages. Vasudeva wanted to perform a charitable ceremony to celebrate Krishna's appearance, but because he was shackled within the walls of Kamsa's prison, this was not possible. Instead, within his mind, he gave thousands of cows to the Brahmanas. When Vasudeva was convinced that the newborn child was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he bowed down with folded hands and began to offer him prayers. At that time, Vasudeva was in the transcendental position and he became completely free from all fear of Kamsa. The newborn baby was also flashing his effulgence within the room in which he appeared. Vasudeva then began to offer his prayers. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranam. Yeah, so it is our desire that really counts, right? Krishna is the supreme proprietor, he is the owner of everything, right? But what is it that we can do? We can simply, even if we just simply desire, I want to serve Krishna with the most opulent dress. Of course, whatever is the best that we have, we have to anyway offer it to Krishna. It's not that I only offer in my mind, I don't offer anything. Simply बैठ के meditate करूंगी. ऐसा नहीं होता है. But even if you don't have some opulent things, you can always offer that. There is this Brahmana who offered kheer to the Lord, right? He did not have any ingredients. He was just meditating. I'm adding this, I'm adding milk, I'm adding sugar, and I'm allowing it to boil, once it's done, and then he offers that kheer to Krishna. Before he offers it, he thinks, oh, this must be really hot, and he puts his finger, and his finger gets burnt. Right? So it's not that every time we offer only Manasika, right? If we offer a Manasika, means we should also honor Prasadam also Manasika only, right? So whenever we are not able to offer anything, even at that time, we have to at least offer Manasika, because we understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Bhava Grahi Janardana. He only sees our intention and our desire to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But whatever is the best that we have, we have to first offer it to Krishna, because Krishna is the source of everything. He has very kindly given it to us, right? So we offer our gratitude to the Lord. Thank you, Lord. And then we offer it to the Lord, and then we accept the remnants of the Lord as prasadam, as the mercy of the Lord, and then we take whatever is required for our maintenance, right? And we take only to that extent, like that, right? And it is said, Bhajahure mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. Vasudeva was fearful of Kamsa, of course, right? Because Kamsa was killing all of his children. But when he meditated on the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, he realized, right? Prabhupada mentions here that Vasudeva's all of the fear had gone. Why? Because he was meditating on the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has appeared in his four-handed form, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. And then on the request of Devaki, he becomes like a normal child. And simply by having darshan of the lotus feet of Krishna, Vasudeva, it is said that all his fears went away, became very peaceful and blissful. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead. 1 second. Yeah, so we have to read from Vasudeva then began to offer his prayers. Right? Just like the demigods were offering prayers, right? Knowing that Lord Krishna is going to appear. And Devaki herself was so, was looking so transcendental, right? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has taken shelter in her womb, isn't it? So Devaki was looking very blissful and transcendental. And when the Lord appeared, then Vasudeva starts offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what does he, what prayers? These prayers are there in Bhagavatam, but a summary of that prayers is actually given here in this Krishna book by Srila Prabhupada. All right, Leelanandini Mataji, go ahead. Vasudeva then began. Dandavats Mataji, yes, go ahead.
Vasudeva then began. Hare Krishna Mataji, what did you say?
Vasudeva, the father of Vasudeva.
Yeah. Vasudeva, where it is? Yeah, Vasudeva then begin to offer his prayers. My dear Lord, I can understand who you are. You are the Supreme Personality of God and the super soul of all living entities and the absolute truth. You have appeared in your own eternal form, which is directly perceived by us. I understand that because I'm afraid of Kamsa, you have appeared just to deliver me from that fear. You do not belong to this material world. You are the same person who brings about the cosmic manifestation simply by glancing over material nature. One may argue that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who creates the whole cosmic manifestation simply by his glance, cannot come within the womb of Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. To eradicate this argument, Vasudeva said, My dear Lord, it is not a very wonderful thing that you have appeared within the womb of Devaki, because the creation was also made in that way. You were lying in the causal ocean as Mahavishnu, and by your breathing process, innumerable universes came into existence. Then you entered into each of the universe as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Then again you expanded yourself as Kshirodasha Vishnu and entered into the hearts of all living entities and even into the atoms. Therefore, your entrance into the womb of Devaki is understandable in the same way. You appear to have entered, but you are simultaneously all-pervading. We can understand your entrance and non-entrance from material examples. The total material energy remains intact even after being divided into 16 elements. The material body is nothing but the combination of the 5 gross elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Whenever there is a material body, it appears that such elements are newly created, but actually the elements are always existing outside of the body. Similarly, although you appeared as a child in the womb of a Devaki, you are also existing outside. You are always in your abode, but still you can simultaneously expand yourself into millions of forms. One has to understand your appearance with great intelligence because the material energy is also emanating from you. You are the original source of the material energy, but just as the sun is the source of the sunshine cannot cover the sun globe, nor can the material energy being an emanation from you cover you. You appear to be in the 3 modes of material energy, but actually the 3 modes of material energy cannot cover you. This is understood by the highly intellectual philosophers. In other words, although you appear to be within the material energy, you are never covered by it. We hear from the Vedic version that the Supreme Brahman exhibits his effulgence and therefore everything becomes illuminated. We can understand from the Brahma Samhita that the Brahma Jyotir or the Brahman effulgence emanates from the body of the Supreme Lord, and from the Brahman effulgence all creations take place. It is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord is the support of the Brahman effulgence. Therefore, originally he is the root cause of everything. But persons who are less intelligent think that even when the personality of God comes within this material world, he accepts the material qualities. Such conclusions are not very mature, but are made by the less intelligent. The Supreme
Hare Krishna.
Personality.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji Haribol.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, aham evasamevagre na anyad yat sadasat param. Right? Tasmat aham yad etaccha yoga sisheta sosmiham. Right? Krishna tells in Bhagavatam, Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, that I am the source of the creation. I am the only one who's existing after annihilation, and I am the one who's maintaining all the 3 universes. Riteratam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani. Tadvidyat atmano mayam yata baso yata tamaha. Right? One who knows this knowledge has the right kind of knowledge. Right? That the Supreme Lord is the one who is the supremely existing at all times. Right? And here very beautiful description of how the creation happens through the glance of Mahavishnu on Ramadevi. Right? How the material manifestation gets created, and how the Lord in his form as Karnakashai Vishnu, a Karnar Nasai Vishnu, right? Actually, from the pores of his body, so many who's actually sleeping, and when he's sleeping, as he's breathing in and out, right? From each of his breath, millions of universes come out, and then the same Karnakashai Vishnu expands himself to Garbhodakashai Vishnu into each of the universes, and he's lies down in the Garbhodaka ocean, and then in each of the universe, the living entities are created, right? By the intervention of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, according to each one's desire, the living entity is created. The living entity acquires their bodies according to their past desires and karmas. And in this way, the Lord then takes his position in the heart of all of the living entities as Kshirodakashai Vishnu. So in this way, the Lord actually expands himself into Karnakashai Vishnu, Garbhodakashai Vishnu, Kshirodakashai Vishnu for the purpose of creation, for the purpose of creation of Brahma. Brahma comes out of the name of the Garbhodakashai Vishnu. So in this way, Brahma comes out, and Brahma is equipped, or Brahma is given the knowledge in his heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kaviye Muyanti Yat Suraya. So Brahma is given this knowledge by the Lord in his heart to do secondary creation. So the Lord is the source of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. And of course, his Guna avatars also there, Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. Right? They are all being employed by the Lord to perform various functions. But the Lord himself is the cause of everything, whether it is creation, whether it is annihilation, whether it is maintenance. Everything happens by the divine arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? All right. Let's move ahead. The next couple of paragraphs is a description of how everything takes place. Maya Dikshena Prakriti Suyatesa Characharam. Everything happens under the supervision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Okay, Shubhangi Keshi Mataji, go ahead. And then Sridhar Prabhu can read. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Pranam Mataji, yes.
the Supreme Personality of Godhead is directly and indirectly existing everywhere. He is outside this material creation, and he is also within it. He is within this material creation not only as Garbhodakshay Vishnu, he is also within the atom. The existence of the atom is due to his presence. Nothing can be separated from his existence. In the Vedic injunction, we find that the Supreme Soul or the root cause of everything has to be searched out because nothing exists independently of the Supreme Soul. Therefore, the material manifestation is also a transformation of his potency. Both intact matter and the living force, the souls are enam- emani-
Emanation.
emani-
Emanations.
emanations from him. Only the foolish conclude that when the Supreme Lord appears, he accepts the condition of matter. Even if he appears to be expected a material body, he is still not subjected to any material condition. Krishna has therefore appeared and defeated all imperfect conclusions about the appearance and disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My Lord, your appearance, existence, and disappearance are beyond the influence of material quality. Because your Lordship is the Supreme Brahman and the controller of everything, there is nothing inconceivable or contradictory in you. As you have said, material nature works under your superintendence, just like a government officer working under the orders of the chief executive. The influence of subordinate activities cannot affect you. Since you are the Supreme Brahman, everything is existing within you, and since all the activities of material nature are controlled by your lordship, none of these activities affect you. You are called Suklam or white knight. It is the symbolic representation of the absolute truth because it is unaffected by the material quality. Lord Brahma is called Rakta or red because Brahma represents the quality of passion for creation. Darkness is entrusted to Lord Shiva because he annihilates the cosmos. The creation, annihilation, and maintenance of this cosmic manifestation are conducted by your potency. Yet you are always unaffected by those qualities. As confirmed in the Vedas, Harir hi nirguna shakas. What is that?
Harirhi nirgunah sakshad.
Sakshat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always free from all material qualities. It is also said that the qualities of passion and ignorance are non-existent in the person of the Supreme Lord. My Lord, you are the Supreme Controller, the Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Great, maintaining the order of this cosmic manifestation. Yet, in spite of your being the Supreme Controller, you have so kindly appeared in my home. The purpose of your appearance is to kill the followers of the demoniac ruler of the world. You who are in the dress of royal prince, but are actually demons. I'm sure that you will kill all of them and their followers and soldiers. I understand that you have appeared in order to kill the uncivilized Kamsa and his followers. But knowing that you were to appear in order to kill him and his followers, he has already killed so many of your predecessors. Your elder brother, now he is simply awaiting the news of your birth. As soon as he hears about it, he will immediately appear with all kinds of weapons to kill you. After this prayers of Vasudev, Devki, the mother of Krishna, offered her prayers. She was very frightened because of her brother's atrocities. Devki said, my dear Lord, your eternal form, like Narayan, Lord Ram, ha-
Hayashirsha.
Hayashrisha, Varaha, Nrsimha, Vamana, Baladev, and millions of similar incarnations emanating from Vishnu are described in Vedic literature as origin. You are original because all your forms as incarnation are outside of the material creation. Your form was existing before this cosmic manifestation was created. Your forms are eternal and all pervading. They are also self-efficient, changeless, and uncontaminated by the material qualities. Such eternal forms are ever cognizant and
Cognizant.
full of bliss. Cognizant and full of bliss. They are situated in transcendental goodness and are always engaged in different pastimes. You are not limited to a particular form only. All such transcendental eternal forms are self-efficient. I can understand that you are the Supreme Lord Vishnu.
Hare Krishna.
After
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Hari Gaur. Dandavat Pranam. Yeah. So here in Bhagavatam itself, it is explained how the different incarnations of the Lord are like the waves in ocean. We cannot count the waves of the ocean. Similarly, we cannot count the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For fulfilling various purposes, the Lord incarnates again and again and again in different forms, right? We cannot count the incarnations of the Lord, right? And when the Lord appears to fulfill a particular purpose, several other small purposes also get fulfilled. But he is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead at all times and at all places, right? And here also one of the important things that is also mentioned here is the Lord is uncontaminated by material qualities, right? When we say the Lord is nirguna, it does not mean the Lord does not have any qualities. Of course, he is the embodiment of all qualities. That is why he is called Bhagavan. All the six opulences are complete in him. So why do we call the Lord Nirguna? Nirguna means he is not contaminated by material qualities, but he is the embodiment of all the wonderful spiritual qualities. Like that. Okay, Sridhar Prabhu, go ahead. After many millions of years.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
After many million of years, when Lord Brahma comes to the end of his life, the annihilation of cosmetic manifestation take place. At that time, the five elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether, enter into the Mahatattva. The Mahatattva then enter by the force of time into non-manifested total material energy. The total material energy enters into the energetic prarthana, and the prarthana enters into you. Therefore, after the annihilation, Pradhana, number one. Therefore, after annihilation, the whole cosmetic manifestation, you alone remain with your transcendental name, form, quality, and paraphernalia. My Lord, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you because you are the director of the unmanifested total energy and the ultimate reservoir of the material nature. My Lord, the whole cosmetic manifestation is under the influence of time, beginning from the moment up to the duration of the year. All act under your direction, and you are the original director of everything and the reservoir of all potent energies. And all the conditioned soul are continuously fleeing from the one body to another and one planet to another. Yet they do not get free from the onslaught of birth and death. But when one of those fearful living entities come under the shelter of your lotus feet, he can lie down without anxiety of being attacked by the formidable death. The statement of Devaki is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself. Lord says that even after traveling all over the universes, from the Brahmaloka to Patalaloka, one cannot escape the attack of birth, death, disease, and old age. But one who enters into the kingdom of God, the Lord says, he is never again obliged to come to the material world. Therefore, my Lord, I request you to save me from the crucial hands of Kamsa, the son of Ugrasena. I am praying to your Lordship to please rescue me from the fearful condition, because you are always ready to give protection to your servitors. The Lord has confirmed this statement in the Bhagavad Gita by assuring Arjuna, you may declare to the world, my devotee shall never be vanquished. While thus praying to the Lord for rescue, Mother Devaki nonetheless expressed her motherly affection. I standard this transcendental form is generally perceived in the meditation by the great sages, but I shall still afraid, because as soon as Kamsa understand that you have appeared, he might harm you. So I request that for the time being, you become invisible to our material eyes. In other words, she requested the Lord to assume the form of an ordinary child. My only cause of fear from the brother Kamsa is due to your appearance. My Lord Madhusudana, I wish that Kamsa may not learn that you are already born. Therefore, I request you to conceal this four-armed form to your lordship, which holds to your four symbol of Vishnu, namely the conch shell, the disc, the club, and the lotus flower. My dear Lord, at the end of the annihilation of cosmetic manifestation, you put the whole universe within your abdomen. Still, by your unalloyed mercy, you have appeared in my womb. I surprise that you intimate the activities of ordinary human beings just to please your devotee. On hearing the prayer of Devaki, Lord replied, my dear mother, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Bol, Dandavat Pranam. So here, very beautifully, Prabhupada has made a point here that the person who puts the whole universe within his abdomen, right? Everything goes and rests where? Inside Garbhoda Kushai Vishnu, right? And then when the world gets recreated, then what happens? Everyone gets their body according to their past desires, right? Such a supreme personality of Godhead also, if he wills to be appearing within the womb of his mother, he will still appear like that, right? There is no restriction for the Lord. Oh, the Lord has to appear only like this. The Lord cannot appear in the form of a boar. The Lord cannot appear in the form of a like a pig. How does it it does not satisfy the conditions of who can appear as who is God, right? There are no conditions attached. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Whatever the Lord wills, that is only dharma. And that is what is given in the scriptures. So we should not try to, according to our material intelligence, we should not think that, oh, why is the Lord appearing as a boar? Why is the Lord appearing in this half man, half lion, ferocious form, etc.? Because the Lord has certain purposes to fulfill, and the Lord decides how and when and in what form you would like to appear, like that. Okay, last three paragraphs are there. Anyone else who has not read before wants to read? Okay, Deval Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. From while thus or Hare Krishna?
On hearing the prayers of Devaki.
Just Mataji. On hearing the prayers of Devaki, the Lord replied, my dear mother, in the millennium of Swayambhuva Manu, my father Vasudeva was living as one of the Prajapatis. His name at that time was Sutapa, and you were his wife named Prishni. At that time, when Lord Brahma was desiring to increase the population, he requested you to generate offspring. You controlled your senses and performed severe austerities. By practicing the breathing exercises of the yoga system, both you and your husband could tolerate all the influences of the material laws, the rainy season, the onslaught of the wind, and the scorching heat of the sunshine. You also executed all religious principles. In this way, you were able to cleanse your heart and control the influences of the material laws. In executing your austerity, you used to eat only the leaves of the trees which fell to the ground. Then, with steady mind and controlled sex drive, you worshipped me, desiring some wonderful benediction from me. Both of you practiced severe austerities for 12,000 years by the calculation of the demigods. During that time, your mind was always absorbed in me. When you were executing the devotional service and always thinking of me within your heart, I was very much pleased with you. O sinless mother, your heart is therefore always pure. At that time also I appeared before you in this form just to fulfill your desire, and I asked you to ask whatever you desired. At that time you wished to have me born as your son. Although you saw me personally, instead of asking for your complete liberation from material bondage under the influence of my energy, you asked me to become your son. In other words, to appear in the material world, the Lord selected his mother and father, namely Prishni and Sutapa. Whenever the Lord comes as a human being, he must have a mother and a father. So he selected Prishni and Sutapa to be his mother and father perpetually. And on account of this, neither Prishni nor Sutapa could ask the Lord for liberation. Liberation is not so important as the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The Lord could have awarded Prishni and Sutapa immediate liberation, but he preferred to keep them within this material world for his different appearances, as will be explained in the following verses. On receiving the benediction from the Lord to become his father and mother, Sutapa and Prishni retired from the activities of austerity and lived as husband and wife in order to beget a child who was the Supreme Lord himself. In due course of time,
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Don't pranam.
Yeah, so in this way, Prabhupada explains in a lecture also what is the difference between the appearance of the Lord and how the living entities are created in this world. The living entities are forced to appear because of their unfulfilled desires and their activities, right? In order to suffer for the sinful reactions, in order to enjoy the pious credits that they've acquired, they are forced into taking up certain material bodies. But the Lord does not appear like that. The Lord appears by his own sweet will. The Lord decides who's going to be my father, who's going to be my mother, when am I going to appear, and why. And my associates had already appeared before to ensure that everything is set right for my appearance, like that. So the Lord comes out of his own sweet will, whereas we are born into certain families or certain country, right? Depending upon whatever have been our past desires and our past actions, and whatever we are supposed to suffer or enjoy according to our previous karmas. That is the difference between the appearance of the Lord. The Lord has a choice, right? We don't have any choice. Which family am I going to be born? Where I am going to be born? Who's my father? Who's my mother? What is my complexion? Whether I'm going to be a male or a female? I don't have any choice, right? I'm just born in this world according to the will of providence and as arranged by material nature. But that's not the case with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, or so Vasudeva and Devaki, they were all great devotees of the Lord who desired so much that the Lord should come as their son, and that is why the Lord fulfilled the desires of the devotees and thus appeared as their son. Yeah, okay, let's go ahead. Okay, Rohini Mataji, go ahead. In due course of time.
Hare Krishna. In due course of time, Krishna became pregnant and gave birth to the child. The Lord spoke to Devaki and Vasudeva. At that time, my name was Krishna Garbha. In the next millennium, you took birth as Aditi and Kashyapa, and I became your child of the name Upendra. At that time, my form was like a dwarf, and for this reason, I was known as Vamanadeva. I gave you the benediction that I would take birth as your son 3 times. The first time I was Krishna Garbha, born of Krishna and Sutapa. In the next birth, I was Upendra, born of Aditi and Kashyapa. And now for the 3rd time, I am born as Krishna from you, Devaki and Vasudeva. I have appeared in this Vishnu form just to convince you that I am the same Supreme Personality of Godhead again taken birth. I could have appeared just like an ordinary child, but in that way you could not have believed that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had taken birth in your womb. My dear father and mother, you have therefore raised me many times as your child with great affection and love, and I am therefore very much pleased and obliged to you. And I assure you that this time you shall go back home, back to Godhead on account of your perfection in your mission. I know you are very concerned about me and afraid of Kamsa. Therefore, I order you to take me immediately to Gokula and exchange me for the daughter who has just been born to Yashoda. Having spoken thus to his father and mother, the Lord turned himself into an ordinary child in their presence and remained silent. Being ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva prepared to take his son from the delivery room, and exactly at that time, a daughter was born to Nanda and Yashoda. She was Yogamaya, the internal potency of the Lord. By the influence of this internal potency, Yogamaya, all the residents of Kamsa's palace, especially the doorkeepers, were overwhelmed with deep sleep, and all the palace doors opened. Although they were barred and shackled with iron chains, the night was very dark, but as soon as Vasudeva took Krishna on his lap and went out, he could see everything just as in the sunlight. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that Krishna is just like sunlight, and that wherever there is.
Thank you, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hari Bol. Yeah, so an important thing here is when Krishna actually appeared as, with Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma, right? Vasudeva and Devaki actually offered obeisances to Krishna. Whereas when Krishna showed such opulence, even to Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya, and what happened? Yashoda Maya would always think, oh, what happened to my Lalla, right? Something has happened to him, right? When Lord Krishna showed the entire universe, she thought that, okay, some evil force has taken over my son, and she used to pray to the demigods that let my Krishna become all right, like that. And then also she used to put she used to take from that saliva and also put on Krishna just to ensure that Krishna is warded off all evil, right? So that shows the superior position of Yashoda and Nandamaya and Nanda Maharaj as compared to Devaki and Vasudeva, right? The more one's attachment to Krishna is more established, the more one will never realize the opulence of the Lord, because one becomes so much absorbed in the love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the Madhurya Bhava, that one fails to understand the Aishwarya or the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is that in this particular thing we understand the superior level of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya as compared to Devaki and Vasudeva, like that, right? Because it is said that Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya are the eternal parents of Krishna. And because, like we studied, right, the Prishni and Sutapa and Aditi and Kashyap and also Devaki and Vasudeva, right? For 3 lifetimes, they got the opportunity to become the parents of the Supreme Personality of Godhead because of the austerity, right? But the Ragatmika Bhaktas are eternal. So Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya are the eternal parents of Lord Krishna, right? All the time, like that. All right, let's go ahead. Last part, who will read? Okay, now Kishori Mataji, please complete this chapter for us. Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that Krishna is just like sunlight, and that whatever there is Krishna, the illusory energy which is compared to darkness.
Wherever there is Krishna. Wherever there is Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that Krishna is just like sunlight, and that wherever there is Krishna, the illusory energy which is compared to darkness cannot remain. When Vasudeva was carrying Krishna, the darkness of the night disappeared. All the prison doors automatically opened. At the same time, there was thunder in the sky and severe rainfall. While Vasudeva was carrying his son Krishna in the falling rain, the Lord Shesha, in the shape of a serpent, spread his hood over the head of Vasudeva so that he would not be hampered by the rainfall. Vasudeva came onto the bank of the Yamuna and saw that the water of the Yamuna was roaring with waves, and that the whole span was full of foam. Still Rama, when he was bridging over the gulf. In this way, Vasudeva crossed the river Yamuna. On the other side, he went to the place of Nand Maharaja situated in Gokula. When he saw that all the cowherd men were fast asleep, he took the opportunity to silently enter the house of Yashoda, and without difficulty he exchanged his son for the baby girl newly born there. Then, after entering the house very silently and exchanging the boy for the girl, he returned to the prison of Kamsa and silently put the girl on the lap of Devaki. He again clamped the shackles on himself so that Kamsa could not recognize that so many things had happened. Mother Yashoda understood that a child had been born to her, but because she was very tired from the labor of childbirth, she fell fast asleep. When she awoke, she could not remember whether she had given birth to a male or a female child. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 3rd canto of Krishna, the birth of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Jagadguru Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsa Chanur Amardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So in this way, Krishna appeared as the son of Yashoda Maya, right? When the Acharyas explained that when Vasudeva went with his Vasudeva Krishna, right? Where Vasudeva Krishna means the son of Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, he appeared as Vasudeva. He was born as described in this chapter also, with Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma. So that was the opulent form of Krishna, right? Mathura Krishna or Dwaraka Krishna, right? Where Krishna incarnates, to kill the demons in his 4-handed form. But the Lalla of Yashoda Maya is eternally Shyamasundar, right? Who is a cowherd boy who is running in the groves of Vrindavan, who is giving pleasure to the Gopas and the Gopis, who's eternally playing the flute, who's sitting the banks of Yamuna, right? So that is the Krishna who is the son of Yashoda Maya. So when Vasudeva comes with this Krishna, who's Vasudeva Krishna, then Yashoda Maya has actually given birth to a boy as well as a girl. right? So when Vasudeva comes and places the child next to Yashoda Maya, the two Krishnas get merged. Of course, Vasudeva is not able to see the boy there, right? He's able to see only the girls. But when he places Vasudeva Krishna there, the Vrindavan Krishna and Vasudeva Krishna, they merge and they become one. And then he picks up the little girl who is none other than Yoga Maya and takes that child, the girl child, back to the prison house in Mathura. And then they wait for announcement to Kamsa, and then let's see what Kamsa does, comes back and does in the prison house. Of course, this is Yoga Maya. So this, she becomes a Devi and she goes and tells Kamsa that the son who's going to kill you has already appeared, right? So you will not be able to kill me, and even if you kill me, you will not be able to stop what is the will of the Lord, the destiny or the will of the Lord, right? That the eighth son of Devaki is already born elsewhere and will come and kill you at the right time. And in this way, Kamsa's fear increases leaps and bounds. So in this way, we complete the chapter on advent of Lord Sri Krishna. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah Tyaktva adeham punarjanmanaiti mamiti so Arjuna. One who understands the transcendental nature of the appearance and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna will not take birth again in this material world. Upon leaving his body, he will go back to the eternal abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai, jai jai Shri Radhe Shyam, jai jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Okay, so let us quickly do Harinam Sankirtan. Devotees can switch on your cameras. I can already see a couple of devotees. Thank you all for your darshan. So please switch on your cameras. Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschathyadi Shotarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai Jai Jai Jagannath Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra Jaya Jaya Sudarshan Jai Bala Gopal Jai Laddu Gopal Jai Rukmini Vitthal Jaya Radha Krishna Jaya Radha Rasa Bihari Radha Shama Sundar Radha Madhav Jaya Radhe 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 Shri Radhe Jaya Shat Goswami Jaya Guru Parampara Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Anand Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Hare Krishna. So I'm able to see Rohini Mataji seems to have a question. We'll come back to you. Sridhar Prabhu, Shobha Mataji, Shri Priya Mataji, Sindhu Mataji, Shubhangi, Keshvi Mataji, Harjit Mataji, Anusha Mataji, Sindhu Mataji, Sarvagopeshwari Mataji, Rajneesh Prabhu, Karpagavali Mataji. Thank you all very much for joining us for this most, I would say, sweet narration of Srila Prabhupada on the appearance of Lord Sri Krishna, right? How he describes very beautifully in the lecture also about Vrindavan Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna, how they merge, and how this the Lord actually, the Lord's will always takes place. Sometimes we think, oh, we are in control, right? So Kamsa thought, okay, eighth child is going to kill. Now let me do all kinds of masti. Let me take care of the eighth child. And then, we don't know what is Krishna's arrangement, what is Krishna's plan, right? As devotees, we should simply surrender to the Lord. Sometimes our plan does not work. Sometimes we are confused. We don't know what decision to take. At that time, the best recourse is to offer obeisances to the Lord, pray to the Lord, express our inability to the Lord, express our helplessness to the Lord, And in this way, the Lord will reveal to us what is the decision we need to take, what is good for us. And in this way, when the Lord reveals himself to us, the Lord reveals his plan to us, then we may be in a position to understand. Otherwise, we are completely bewildered, right? That's why it says, what is that? Janmadhyasya yatonnitaritaratas charteshu vigneswara teni brahma hridaya adikaviye muyanti yat suraya. Even the suraya, even the demigods are put into illusion by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So in this way, according to the Lord's plan, everybody is actually put into kind of forgetfulness, right? And sometimes it's for transcendental reasons, right? And sometimes it is for our own purification. So in either case, a devotee accepts it as the mercy of the Lord and unconditionally surrenders to the Lord. And that is the mood of a devotee. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai, Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai, Radha Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai, Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. All right. So we'll go to Rohini Mataji now. Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, so no, this photo. Mataji, so Lord appeared as a baby only, right? From the beginning, what Devaki and Vasudev could see was Lord as a baby only, but Lord had four hands, and then on a request, he came to two hands. Am I understanding it correct? Like they always saw Lord in the baby form.
Yeah. So it was in a small form, the form that Krishna took to and when he went into the womb of Uttara. When Parikshit Maharaj also saw in the womb small Krishna, but with four-handed form, just to display the opulence that I am the Lord, I am the annihilator, I am killing this demon, like that. So that is the Aishwarya form of the Lord. When he holds the Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, that means that is the power of the Lord that he is showing. Right? So when Devaki and Vasudev saw that powerful form of the Lord, they offered obeisances. They understood that this is the Supreme Lord who has come as my son. Whereas Yashoda Maya will never think that the Supreme Lord has come as my son. Even if the Lord tells Yashoda Maya, I am the Lord. Even Balaram told that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Don't worry about him. I am also the Supreme Lord. And Yashoda Maya said, why is it that all the gods have to come and take birth in my house only? Right? In this way, she did not believe Krishna. That is the love. When you are so much in love, you do not see the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the difference. But both were baby forms only, right?
Baby
because,
forms.
yeah.
Okay, in the photo, I Prabhupada, so I was like thinking.
Yeah. So when he showed his opulence for a moment, they could see the Virat Roop of the Lord, where he is holding that Shankha Chakra Gada and Padma. Right? So it was by baby form only. The baby is there in their hands, and the form also comes where the Lord is displaying his opulence. And then at the request of Devaki, he becomes like an ordinary child.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, Anjana Mataji, how can I serve you?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Is Yogmaya is that Subhadra Mai? Yogmaya.
Yeah, so in different connotations, they say different things. Of course, Subhadra Devi, Yoga Maya means what? Eternally engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord. Right? They are arranging. Paurnamasi is also said to be a form of Yoga Maya because she arranges the pastime of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan Dham. So Yoga Maya is the transcendental Maya energy of the Lord who are eternally serving the internal pleasure potency of the Lord. Right? They are all serving Srimati Radharani in their pastimes with Radha and Krishna. So it specifically does not state any particular person here. It just says Yoga Maya appeared. Right? In different connotations, Yoga Maya may refer to different people like Paurnamasi, like Subhadra Devi, like that. Right? It means they are serving the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Whereas Durga Devi is the Bahiranga Shakti of the Lord. Right? That means we are putting people into illusion, taking people to test. Whoever passes the test, they are proceeded to the next level. That is the service of Mahamaya. Whereas Yoga Maya is to increase the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, the Yoga Maya makes Krishna forget that he is the Supreme Lord also. Otherwise, some people ask, was Krishna acting when he was running away from Yashoda Maya? He knows he is the Supreme Lord. Why was he acting like in a drama? No, Acharyas explain that Krishna was actually afraid of Yashoda Maya, that Yashoda Maya is running behind him with a stick and tears are flowing down from his eyes and his kajal is all flowing out, the black marks on his face. So in that way, Yogamaya serves several purposes to, and even putting Krishna into forgetfulness. But it is all for the pleasure of Krishna. So that is the role of Yogamaya. Okay, Mataji? Is that okay? Where are you? Are you there? Yeah. Yeah, Anjana Mataji, is it okay?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Nagavani Mataji. Yes. Do you have any question?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. I just wanted to tell you what you told me just now. Actually, Durga Mate ko Yogamaya bolte hai na? Durga Devi ko?
Durga Devi is Mahamaya. Durga Devi is Mahamaya because she is also doing it in service to the Lord only. But the service is to put people in illusion, is to give test, right? Basically giving the allure, the fascinating objects of Maya to test us. You know, what are we attracted to? Are we attracted to the illusions of Maya or are we attracted to Krishna? Then Maya Devi, if she's convinced that I'm only attracted to Krishna and service to Krishna, then Maya Devi will hand over us to Yoga Maya and then we will be eternally engaged in the service of the Lord. But as long as we try to enjoy sense gratification, we are allured by the objects of Maya. Till that time, Maya Devi, Durga Devi is the fortress of this world. She will keep us here as long as we are attracted to sense gratification. All right?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Grantaraj, Krishna book ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So tomorrow we will study Bhagavad Gita. So this week it has become a little reverse. So tomorrow is Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday, Friday we will study Bhagavad Gita. So tomorrow we will have the verse of the week that we need to memorize. So Thursday, Friday we will do Bhagavad Gita this week. All right? Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. From next week we will reverse. Monday, Tuesday will be Bhagavad Gita. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be Krishna book. Yeah.